They were protecting the principal, and I think in
the principal got shot.
Senator, sometimes it just works out this way. We played your clip yesterday from War Room saying that Ed Martin will be our next district attorney. And seconds ago, President Trump pulled his nomination in part because he could not get the support inside of the Senate. And so the floor is yours, Senator, your reaction to this news.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on. It's a tremendous pleasure to be on the show. Obviously, I hope I wasn't the kiss of death, Benny. I mean, when I predicted that Ed would definitely get confirmed, I mean, obviously I was wrong. This is ultimately the president's choice. And listen, I defer to the president. I mean, the president gets to nominate, and if he wants to nominate Ed for something else, then that's fine. I mean, that's totally fine. I'll just say this. I think it's a shame because Martin is in office right now, and he's doing a great job. I mean, the president said this yesterday, I believe. Crime is down in the District of Columbia by 25%. That's a huge number. And it is much needed because the district is one of the most unsafe places on earth. And President Trump has been clear about this. The district needs to be the most safe city in America. I mean, we need to be able to come here. Our families need to be able to come. Visitors from around the country, that this is the people's city. We need a U.S. attorney in this city who's going to make it safe, who's going to protect our families, who's going to clean it up, and particularly ahead of the 250 celebration next year. I think it's really important. I think Ed Martin would have done all of that. I think he is doing it. I mean, he is the acting U.S. attorney right now. But again, I defer to the president, and if he wants to appoint Ed to something else, then I'll certainly support that.
So we had one of your colleagues on yesterday, Senator Mullen, who spoke very, very kindly of you and your work and said that, you know, Josh Hawley is a man who really locks it in, and I trust Josh. But he cautioned us yesterday and went viral for doing so, saying that the defectors in the Senate wing of the Republican Party for Ed Martin, that they are defecting because they are still emotional, fragile, and feline over January 6th and Ed Martin's commentary on January 6th. Can you speak to that? That seems like such a humiliating reality.
Well, listen, I think that you do have a lot of senators who took issue with a lot of the things that Ed Martin has said, and I think particularly about January 6th. That I just have to say, I mean, I've urged all those people. I mean, I serve with these people. I sit on the Judiciary Committee with them. What I said to every single one of my colleagues was, sit down with Ed Martin. First of all, look at his record. Look at what he actually did. He defended J6 defendants. You bet they deserve to be defended. You bet they deserve to have the rule of law applied fairly and equally to them. And we all know that did not happen. In the overwhelming majority of cases, it was so extreme, the U.S. Supreme Court had to step in, and rightly so in these cases. So I don't think we should fault Ed Martin for defending J6 defendants. I'm glad he was willing to do it. Almost nobody else was, which is a sad, sad commentary on our legal system and on the defense bar. Let's just be honest. The other thing is, though, look at Ed's record. I mean, look at his record in public office. He's been chief of staff to a governor. Look at his record as a prosecutor. He has been a tough prosecutor, not in some distant past, right this minute. So, you know, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed that my colleagues wouldn't at least let him come up for a vote. I mean, this is what I said. We need to have a vote. Let's get people on the record. And I think the fact we're not even going to vote on him, that's why let's be honest, this is why the president pulled back on him, is because I don't think the Senate was even going to give him a vote. And I just think that's a dangerous precedent, Benny. I mean, if that's going to be how we start treating the president's nominees, and I want to emphasize, Ed Martin was the president's nominee. No senator put him forward. He was Donald Trump's choice for the U.S. District of Columbia. And I'd say that it signals to me there may be some tough sledding ahead in the Senate for more Donald Trump picks, and I don't think that's really a good thing.
Yeah, no, clearly not. So there's sledding that was happening inside of the U.S. Senate that's made an enormous amount of news. There's a lot of break. Sometimes it just works out this way, Senator. You just I call it Midwestern luck. I'm from Iowa. You're from Missouri. Sometimes just being Iowa nice gets you Midwestern luck. There's massive news breaking out of the Senate committee hearing with Kash Patel. I'm not sure if you were in the room with this, but it's been a news cycle right now about the FBI, the DOJ, and the handling of the Epstein videos and Epstein list and Epstein information. Kash Patel saying that he has all of these videos and all of this information, and he's going to release it to the public. Have you heard anything about this? What kind of consequences would this potentially have for the deep state? Do you have any insights into what the operation was actually there? There's such a ravenous interest because I think the American people know they've been lied to here.
Well, they've been lied to over and over by the FBI, particularly under the leadership of Joe Biden and Christopher Wray. And that's why Kash Patel is so important. Number one, such a breath of fresh air. Number two, and is doing a great job. Number three, as to Epstein, I don't know anything that hasn't already been reported, but I welcome the director's statements that he is going to release everything. It's just like with the JFK files, the MLK files, all of this stuff should be public. We have a government, let's be honest, that has lied to us on subject after subject for years, decades now. And this is why President Trump coming into office and saying, I'm going to declassify all this stuff. It should have been declassified long ago, all of it, including all the Epstein stuff. But we ought to see every last piece of it, all of Epstein, his client list, his flight logs, any videos that they have. I mean, we should see all of it. So I think Patel is on the right track. I hope he'll do it sooner rather than later. I hope they won't do it piecemeal. He didn't ask my opinion, but my view on it is that get it all out there. Dump it all out there into the public. Let everybody see it. I think the people have a right to know.
If this ends up firing back on the Clinton family, we've already seen that his name's 27 times on the manifest for Jeffrey Epstein. No explanation of what those flights were about and where they were going. Could we presumably see criminal charges brought against some of the higher levels of our federal government?
Could. I mean, it all depends on the statute of limitations of the particular crimes, but I'll just say 25 appearances on the flight logs. I think we can probably guess what that's about. I haven't heard a different explanation, Benny. I mean, that's really the telling thing, is it not? If there were another explanation, don't you think that Bill and Hillary would be rushing forward to say, oh, no, this is the real story? They're not doing that. In fact, they're fighting tooth and nail to keep this all private. Lots of people are fighting tooth and nail to keep this all private, which is why it needs to all be public. It should all be out there in public. It should have been public a long time ago. And again, I just want to encourage the director, Kash Patel, go forward, charge ahead. Don't be waylaid here. Don't fall back. I mean, push ahead here and get this all out in the public domain.
Well, so what we know the most, Senator, and it's the most important response to your answer there, is that Bill Clinton is a morally upstanding guy who would never, ever threaten his marriage or would never, ever do anything that is untoward with young women. I think that's what we understand, right? About the nature of Bill Clinton.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Right, because the record bears that out, Benny. Of course he wouldn't. He'd never violate his oath, by the way, either. He'd never suborn perjury. He'd never interfere in a federal investigation. He'd never try to bribe a witness. No, he'd never do any of those things. Now, of course, he did all of those things. He is a terrible person. And I don't say that with any glee. I don't mean to be judgmental. It's just a fact. I mean, you look at what he did in office. You look at what he's done since then. This guy should not be in public life. And we ought to have, the public deserves to know all of it.
Senator, you are on a Homeland Security and Government Affairs. And since it's your first time on the program, I'm just going to spin the wheel and go to some of the favorite topics and questions of this program, because our audience are big fans of yours. And whenever we post a clip of yours, it goes viral. And you're just one of those guys who's young enough to seek very clearly through the mess in the swamp and to tell us honestly. And we've really appreciated that about you in your media hit. So here we go. Homeland Security and Government Affairs. Homeland Security oversees the Secret Service. And the Secret Service has allowed multiple assassins to get very close to President Trump. One of them to take off a big chunk of his ear. Another one to potentially try and buy an RPG or a Stinger missile from Ukraine, arms that we provided to Ukraine, in order to shoot down Trump's plane. We know that through the federal documents and the court cases that are being litigated right now. Will we ever understand fully what was going on in the 2024 election? Because it seems to be quite a black box right now. Who was Matthew Thomas Crooks? Was he working alone? How was Ryan Ralph able to nearly get munitions from Ukraine, military arms, to kill Donald Trump? He came within 100 feet of getting Donald Trump with a Russian-made rifle. These seem to be massive questions that were this close to bringing us to the point of civil war, right? Have there been any fixes? Can you maybe give us a briefing on what's going on when it comes to the Trump assassination?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Here's what I can tell you. You're right to call it a black box. And this is when you talk about the need for reform at the FBI and reform at the Secret Service, this is Exhibit A. And I can speak to this personally because as a member of the Homeland Security Committee, I went myself to Butler shortly after the assassination attempt. I went to go gather facts, to go see it myself on the ground. Do you know I was only there for half an hour before FBI agents came onto the property and ordered me to leave. And I said, wait a minute. Yeah, I'm a member of the United States Senate. I'm on the Homeland Security Committee. I have an oversight responsibility. I want to know what the heck happened. We're conducting an investigation. I'm here to do that. I brought a team with me. The FBI actually tried to kick me off the property. Why? Because they didn't want anybody seeing firsthand information, gathering information. And this is just days after the assassination attempt, Benny. Even then, they wanted to control 100% the information flow. What happened in the days and weeks since? The FBI refused to cooperate with our investigation on the Homeland Security Committee. The Secret Service refused to cooperate. Between the two of them, those agencies interviewed internally, they told us, over 100 people, and they had thousands of documents. They refused to turn over almost all of it to Congress, any of it, even to Democrats, Democrat, Republican. They wouldn't give it to anybody. Now, what does that tell you? It's back to that same old pattern. They don't want the public to know the truth. We need to get the truth. And this is something else I hope Kash Patel can do. I hope the new Secret Service director can do. A, we need to clean house at both of those agencies. B, we've got to get the truth on what was going on. I had so many whistleblowers come forward to me, Benny. I bet over a dozen. In fact, we issued an entire whistleblower report with nothing but whistleblowers who had come to me into my office personally and told us all of this information about what was being withheld, told us that when it came to the second attempt, for instance, the FBI and the Secret Service didn't follow any of their protocols on sweeping the perimeter. I mean, what is going on at these agencies? And I have to say, the stonewalling really has still continued. There needs to be serious answers. I don't think we're close to knowing yet, because I think the stonewalling has continued even to today, and that has got to stop.
Can you elucidate for us just anything without revealing what was going on with the whistleblowers? And I know we're up against a hard out here, but we constantly play that the FBI was power washing the rooftop in Butler, that the assassin, this guy was cremated without the knowledge of his family, without the knowledge of the coroner and the county. It seems so strange to us, and it harkens back to other cleanup jobs that seemed so hastily, like the JFK assassination. And we have the image right here. This was less than 24 hours after President Trump was hit in the head with a bullet, the FBI power washing the rooftop. Just in closing here, Senator, can you please elucidate for us maybe a little bit about what your whistleblowers have told you?
Well, what whistleblowers told me consistently is, number one, the feds never wanted to take responsibility for the major security lapses. Some of our earliest whistleblowers were local and state cops, police, and law enforcement agents who came forward to us and said, wait a minute, they're trying to blame this on us. The truth is, the feds didn't establish universal comms during the day, so local law enforcement couldn't communicate with them. The feds didn't set up their security perimeter correctly. We later had Secret Service agents come forward and verify that to me and say the security perimeter was supposed to be farther out. They were supposed to be using a particular kind of team that they didn't do that day. And what really gets me, Benny, is Secret Service lied about this stuff. What it tells me is at the very least, Secret Service and FBI from day one did not want to take responsibility. They did not want to be blamed. They did not want to have any of their actions reviewed. And so they first tried to blame it on the locals. Then they tried to sweep it under the rug. Then they tried to stonewall. And I don't think we have yet to get the solid answers that we need. And I just say, again, this is a great opportunity for this new administration. Work with Congress. Come forward to the American public. Give us the information. Tell us what was really going on.
Yes. All right. Well, Senator, just wild. Sometimes you just get a hat trick here. Apparently, we have a new pope as well. So I know that.
Oh, wow.
I don't believe you're Catholic. I believe you're Presbyterian, if that's correct here. But wow, we have a new pope as well. So I guess we'll see. I'm not sure if it's Donald Trump or not. We haven't heard. Everybody follow the great senator. You already know Senator Josh Hawley. 2.2 million patriots follow him. Make sure that we're fighting with the people who are fighting for us. Godspeed, Senator.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.